Our eminent speaker, Professor Dr. Andrea Giuricin, is transport economist at CESISP University, Milan Bicocca, COTRA Consulting. Professor Dr. Andrea is CRO of TRA Consulting, a strategic consulting company based in Barcelona, Milan, and Brussels. He is at Center of Research of CESISP at University Milano Bicocca in Italy, and he is professor in marketing management at Purdue University, University of Minnesota at the Michigan State University, and University Southern California. He is also former visiting professor at China Academy of Railway Sciences, the biggest academy in the world for the railways, and his teaching at UIC, the International Association of Railways. He is working directly with airlines from Latin America, Middle East, and Europe, analyzing the evolution of the market and customer needs. A very warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you very much to be here for this presentation about contactless travel world in post-COVID-19 world. So this is a short presentation of myself. I'm CEO of TRA Consulting that is specialized in strategic consulting, but also I work with the World Bank. I'm also special consultant for the CEO of Italo-NTV, the first high-speed rail in open access competition in the world. And I also teach at university, in several universities. I was also visiting professor at China Academy of Railway Science. Not least, I also cooperate with several authorities of regulation of transport. So we will not speak too much about regulation, even if regulation is a key element, and I will show you immediately. But we will speak about the change for the consumer after this crisis that is so strong for the transportation in general and for rail transportation in particular. So first of all, we have to think that when this crisis will be finished, the world is not exactly the same. I call that asymmetric crisis. What means asymmetric crisis? That means that if we compare the GDP in 2022 with the data of 2018, this is IMF data. Of course, after these 4 years that is in the middle, we have the strongest crisis ever. We will see that some country is going better than others. For example, China and India. They have a great increase of GDP in this period, even if of pandemic. The same for ASEAN country. It's completely different for Europe. For example, you can see Euro area, but Germany, France, and especially for my country, Italy, where the GDP in 2022 will be lower, around 3 points in comparison with the 2018. This is coming after something that happening in the last years, especially in Italy. This is very important because I call that the experience of competition in the high-speed rail, and we know that many countries in the next years will have high-speed rail. India, Indonesia, for example, new countries that will have this big project in US with the new Biden administration. But what happened in Italy in the last 10 years, especially from 2012, 28th of April 2012 until today, is that we open to the competition, and we have two operators that are using the same infrastructure. I helped to write these articles for Bloomberg Business. We go for some interview for Reuters, but it's very clear the effect of competition. Competition make double the demand with the same infrastructure in Italy, the high-speed rail, even if the GDP was not growing, and with a strong decrease of the price. And this is very important because give me the possibility to show you that the competition also help to go to the contactless travel. So a contactless travel is also pushed by competition. So there is a key driver of innovation is a private competition, as we saw in Italy. Of course, one of the elements that help the competition is reducing the price and reducing the cost. The maintenance contract, for example, optimization of space on board, running costs, IT costs, and so on. But competition pushes innovation, and this is very, very important to understand how the contactless travel could be in the next year. So first of all, we have to remember that more and more we are in the world, also in the rail world, where the data is a key element. And we have data from assets, think about rolling stock that can give information to the companies, to the railway undertakings, to the infrastructure manager, but also coming data from passenger. And this is a key element if we want to customize the service. And the customization of the service is a key element if we are able to use the technology. And the technology, of course, given us the possibility, or given to the companies the possibility to have maximization of the use of the technology and maximization of the use of this data. Of course, what we need is also agreement with third party. Think about, in many cases, that we have maintenance contract with the third parties. This is the example of Italo with Alstom, that is a French producer of the train, that have 30 years contract for the maintenance. But also we have agreement with the passengers because there's also privacy problem. But if we want to use this big data, this technology, and we want to use that to increase the quality of the travel, to increase the revenue for the railway undertaking, to increase in general also all the elements that could give a better quality of the service, the technology is a key element. And the technology is a key element if we have an IT system that help a contactless experience. So here, just an example that we have already in place in Italy for the private company, where we have a service-oriented architecture for the IT. And on this service-oriented architecture, we have a specialist subsystems that are working and are putting data inside. So we have a CRM, distribution, dynamic information, but also the back office subsystem, for example, fleet and crew, maintenance, and so on. This gives me the possibility to show you an experience, an experience that is possible to do. So, for example, if you have a big group that is coming maybe from India or from China, imagine from China or from South Korea, they came on board on the train. We know that because we have information from distribution system or from a CRM, and we use that information to give the possibility to the company to have, for example, a crew that are speaking also Chinese or Korean, depending of the customer, to give a very quality service to them. So we use the technology to help to have these kind of things. This is just an example. But when we spoke about technology-driven contactless travel, contactless travel more and more is something that are related to our smartphone. So this is just an example of the app-driven technology that are used in many cases. But in this app that you have on your smartphone is very important because you have all the information. It's not just to buy a ticket. It's not just to have information about your travel. For example, you know in advance what will be the platform where your train is, but is to try to experience all the travel with a contactless experience. For example, here you have the code of the ticket that are used and are shown, for example, that could be also QR code, but also could be shown to the to the train manager that control the ticket. And this QR code also help you to enter, for example, in the station where there's some barrier to enter in the station, for example, if you have quality security control. And this kind of information also is mixed with the system that I showed to you. So, for example, about a very good experience is, imagine that you have a problem on the line and maybe your train is delayed. Maybe there's some problem on the infrastructure manager. Of course, you can use the customer operation control system, the CRM system, the CMS system, to know the people that have to go in the station, that have to go on board. And you can alert in advance the customer, sending and push notification, for example, to alert, don't go too much in advance to the station, because there's some problem and the train is 1 hour delayed. So all this kind of technology and all this kind of automatic or semi-automatic flow of real-time target information help a lot this contactless experience. And contactless experience is also related to a great advantage that you have on board of the train. I use the train to go from Milan to Rome, that is 3 hours by train, more or less 600 kilometers, is high-speed rail train. And when I are on board and I take my train, I start to work on board of the train because I have Wi-Fi, I have a Wi-Fi free connection, I have also onboard portal, all these kind of things help the customer to have a contactless experience, a contactless travel, but full of service. So on board of the train, you have a full of service and you have very good, very high quality of the service. This is very important to increase the quality of the service. Of course, you have data of the customer on board coming from Wi-Fi on board portal, and you have utilization of this data that you can use it. Of course, you have to match with the problem of privacy. But this is very important to try to give the best experience of travel to every single customer. Every single customer is different from another customer. This differentiation is a key element to try to give the best product of service, the best service to your customer for every single customer. The other element is to buy the ticket online. That is quite normal. Already in 2015, there was already 80% of the tickets that were sold. More and more, we are going this direction. I can give you some example. For example, Ouigo, that is a French low-cost carrier, a railway undertaking, that are using just the online and the web and app to sell the ticket. And we have to use more and more the seat inventory system to have to try to give the best price for every single customer. So we have to use the discrimination of price for that. Other things is, for example, the use of technology. If the seats are not pre-assigned, for example, as happened in Italy, also you can use the camera technology. So imagine like in Germany, where not all the tickets, also for the high speed, are linked to one single seat. In Italy, it's not happening something like that. In China, it's not happening something like that. In Korea too. But in some countries, still, we don't have a pre-assignment. So also could be used for the intercity service, these kind of things. You can use the camera technology to give the information, for example, to the customer or to the train manager, where there's more availability of seat. Of course, you have to use the technology, the service-oriented architecture, but then you can give this information to the train manager, you can give this information to the passenger, and the passenger could know that, for example, the number 5, the coach number 5, there's 0 seat, like in the coach number 3. So they can go in the coach number 1, for example, and this could help a lot to give a customer experience that is better and better. Of course, the last element that we have to use to give a contactless experience is also the increasing the user experience, what we call UX. So the user experience could be also increased thanks to the VR and the AR, so to the virtual reality and augmented reality. Of course, virtual reality could be used maybe when you are on board of the train, try to have a better experience of travel, better contents for your movies, for the movies that you can have on your board portal and so on. But also, for example, you can give augmented reality in the station, for example. You can use your smartphone, and using your smartphone, you can have information as a sort of Pokemon Go, but with different contents. The contents is not Monster. You will have contents about the shops. You will have contents about where is your platform, because many times in the station is not easy to go around. So you can use augmented reality to increase the experience, this experience, to increase the quality of the experience, a contactless experience for the customer. And here, just very funny that when in 2016 there was a big phenomenon of Pokemon Go, and of course, pay attention to use Pokemon Go in the station. In reality, we can use the augmented reality to give more information, to give a better contactless experience after this crisis for all the customer. So thank you very much for your attention.